Rakta Yahweh, Rakta Yahushai, Rakta Yahweh, Rakta Yahushai, Rakta Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Wakakadash, double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of great mystery of the well, and to the Akim around the four corners of the earth, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. So this, wow. So it just shows you, man, that Esau can never be dependable when it comes to telling the truth. So you see what Google did concerning the so-called PCR test. They said it's on point, that is very reliable. So this is what they say. When you type in the words PCR test unreliable, all right, the CDC is now not changing their tune after folks been saying this for over a year now, that the PCR is not a reliable test for detecting the CV. So you just understand that this so-called agency is just nothing but a front for fraudsters, man. And Google is working hand in hand with them. So you put this information up there on the top of the search engine as being accurate when in actuality is false. All right. So it said, you could read it, it said this: the C19 PCR test is reliable despite the commotion about, you know, it's just the CT values, man, you know. So always very, very important, man, to pay attention. So it says what? The people sharing the claim that the C19 PCR testing is not reliable because of high CT values are just amplifying noise, meaning what they're just making up irrelevant comments. All right. So I'm using my other phone to check this out. You know, to let you know what CT values are. So it's saying, okay, CT values. It says it's so in a real time PCR, that's polymerase chain reaction. All right. It says assay. A positive reaction is what? Detected by accumulation of a fluorescent signal. The CT, meaning the cycle threshold, is defined as the number of cycles required for the fluorescent signal to cross the threshold, that is, exceeds the background level. So you're setting a standard to determine if the information you're getting is true or is just false. All right. Then it says levels are inversely proportional to the amount of target. All right. That is what the nucleic acid. Okay. And then it says that there's nucleic acid in the sample, and then it also says that uh, yeah, that's the point right there, man. So you're basically looking for a signal to tell you if the information you're getting is valid or is not valid. So when you look at the results in Google search engine, it shows you that they're saying it's reliable, and now the CDC is changing their tune. So now you look at the first question. It says, are the CV19 PCR tests accurate? It says PCR tests are very accurate when properly performed by a healthcare professional, but the rapid test can miss some cases. So when you base the test, when you base people's, you know how you say it, reaction or, I mean, status, okay? or whether they're positive or negative on a false premise, what do you expect to happen? And the government already knew this from a long time ago. Even the man that created the PCR test, he already said it is not to be used for diagnosing if someone has the CV. All right, and the coronavirus is basically a class of viruses. Okay, a category of viruses that have the how you say those so-called spike structures on the outside of the cell. Let me say on the outside of the virus. That's all it is. It's based on the structure. Okay, that's what they call it, the corona. And then it says, how reliable are the tests for CV-19? It says the accuracy of any diagnosis depends on many factors, including whether the sample was collected properly. For PCR tests, which are typically analyzed in a laboratory, the test may be affected by the conditions in which the test was shipped to the laboratory, or meaning the sample. Okay, then it says results be affecting may also be affected by the timing of the test. For example, if you are tested on the day you are infected, your test result is almost guaranteed to come back negative. That doesn't make sense, all right? Because there are not enough viral particles in your nose or saliva to detect. So what if you had something previously from something else, and you just detect something from the flu, and you already recovered, and still say that you tested positive? So it just shows you that it's just false information that they're pushing out there. And now you look at the next one. It says mass testing is inaccurate and give false sense of security, and that's proper science right there. So look at that. So with the CDC changing their tune, it just shows you that they're running out of lies to tell. All they have left is just the bully pulpit. That's all they can bank on. And their peons in all these government positions to force the people to go along with the fraud, all right, including the media agencies, all right. So that's the point there, Akim. You could always do your quick check, and now the whole world is pissed off because of a false, the falsehood that been put upon their eyes, all right. So that's the point that the Lord Hamashaki Yahushua is just going to get us out of this, man. Because the more, let me get this quick precept, man. All right. All right. I'm going to read this real quick. So this book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 18. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. And that's why a lot of people are just shaking their head at all these so-called government officials, man, for misleading the people. And that just adds more fuel to the fire and the backlash that the people's going to unleash upon these officials when all hell breaks loose. So that's upon the Akim Abaratas that the Lord, Yahweh Bashima Shabbat Kakadash, we continue to strengthen our minds to see through these lies in these last days and time with the light of Hamashiach Yahushai. Shalom.